Okay guys, this is my extended instructional video on how to set up the subcutaneous CADD pump for remodulin. So you should still always attend the pump drills. It's expected that you are competencied with somebody who has been validated to do this with you, but this is just an educational resource meant to help you out if you need a quick reminder, okay? All right, so this is the CADD pump, CADD-MS. This actually traditionally was used and is still used as an insulin pump. That's what it was meant for. However, here at CMC, we only use it for remodulin, never for insulin, okay? All right, so this device does not have an on and off button, funny enough. So the way that 8 West stores it is they flip the battery. Over here, that component right here holds the battery, so you're going to use any old coin. I have a penny here, and I'm going to use the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey method to loosen up my cap here. Okay, I'm going to pop out the battery. It is a AAA battery, and I'm going to flip it the correct way. I'm going to turn that there. Alrighty. Okay, so you really want to get this secure. It's very sensitive. Apparently it has happened before where the battery wasn't perfectly in and a pump stopped. Okay, so right now it's just going through its thing. Now, before I start, I should say, now let's say you have a patient who's receiving subcutaneous remodulin. When you set up getting ready to give them a new medication, or excuse me, a syringe of remodulin, you're not going to do it in the patient's room with their pump. Each patient actually has 2 pumps. And what you're doing is you're using their backup pump to set it up, and then you switch it out, basically. And that's how it always works. You'll never do it with it actively attached to the patient, okay? All right, so it's telling me cartridge removed. Press OK to begin process. So you are going to follow what it tells you, okay? So hit OK. All right, so you see the menu here. You have 3 steps. You're going to load, fill tubing, and fill cannula. We'll go one by one. First step is to load the medication. So we're going to hit select. Okay, so detach set from body, install filled cartridge, then press load. What it's asking you to do is to remove this piece. Be very careful. This piece will not, if you lose it, the device will not run without it. So keep that very close to you, okay? So you're going to get this pre-filled syringe from pharmacy. Remodulin has a half-life of 4 hours, so typically there's not a backup of this kept in the Pyxis. They give it to you around the time that it's going to be due, which they should know. This drug, the tubing is replaced about every 72 hours for the subcutaneous pump, okay? All right, so it's telling me to install filled cartridge, then press load. So how I'm going to do that. This part is probably the hardest part, and it's not hard at all. But I just do want to be careful. This is a very expensive medication. We're talking thousands of dollars. So the way this works is you have to remove the plunger, okay? So rather than just pulling it off, you're going to very delicately turn it clockwise. And you're going to pull it out. The medicine's not going to fall out because it's not very obvious here, but there is a floor on there. Medication's going to be just like that, okay? And then you are going to drop it right in there very gently. Don't push. And then you're going to just twist counterclockwise. Keep twisting until it kind of goes into place. It's not a big snap, but it's secure. Our competency does allow for you to turn it around, and just be careful, of course. Worst case scenario, if you hit load, it'll tell you if it's not loaded correctly, so don't worry. All right, so I have installed my cartridge, so I'm going to hit load. And right now it's loading. Now, on occasion, you may get to this step, and rather than it doing what it's doing right now, it's going to give you a message about a push rod. What it's basically saying is that, hey, the piston that's on the side here is not in the proper position. So you're just going to follow the directions that it gives you. It's going to tell you to take out the cartridge being the syringe, and you're going to hit OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to adjust the push rod so it's in the proper position. And then you just do exactly what I just did. Okay. All right, so we have loaded the medication. The next step is to prime our tubing. So here we're going to select fill tubing. Okay, so before we go fill the tubing, you have to obviously connect the tubing. The one step that people always want to go to is just directly to connecting it. You actually want to put this doodad on first, okay? So put that on, be very careful, because remember, this pump won't run unless it's on. Every time you put it on, it goes back to this main menu. I don't know why. So you're just going to make sure you go back. So go back to fill tubing, hit select. Okay, now your Clio needle or your silhouette is going to come in sterile packaging. This is educational purposes, so I have it here ready to go. This right here is the silhouette, but we most often, I think at least, from what I've seen, we use the Clio, which is right here. I'm going to use the Clio, okay? So I'm going to attach it here. In order to do that, I have to very gently remove this white cap and very gently but securely attach my tubing, okay? Once again, we went back to the main menu because this thing is very impatient. I'm gonna go back to fill tubing, hit select, okay. So the way this works, you want to swatch the needle, okay? You're going to hit start, and it's gonna start to prime your tubing. What you're doing is you're waiting to see a drop come from that needle. It takes about 0.25 to 0.3 to see the drop. So we're just gonna wait here. There is no liquid in this because this is practice, so we're just pretending. We'll say, I just saw the drop. Stop. Okay. So you're going to hit back. It's okay if you accidentally hit start. It's not going to restart again. It's going to give you a prompt like, are you sure? But I'm going to hit back. Okay, so now we fill the tubing. So the last step is fill cannula. Now, if this is a brand new set, meaning like the needle, like you have to actually insert a new subcutaneous needle into the patient, you are going to select fill cannula. Otherwise, if all you're doing is replacing this component, and not changing the needle for the patient, you do not want to choose fill cannula. The cannula is referring to the reservoir that's on the patient side. I don't have an example here, but basically there's a little medicine, a little like backup reservoir that hangs out with the patient in the device that's in their belly. And what you're saying basically is when this is a new setup, like, hey, can you provide a little backup in that reservoir? So just for practice, we'll pretend this is a new set and I'm going to hit select. Now, if the patient already had it, we can just hit done and be done. Anytime it times out like this, because it's a very impatient device, just hit any button. I'm going to hit this button. Okay, so I'm going to choose fill cannula. And when you're ready, you're going to hit fill cannula. All right, so that was super quick because there was no cannula to fill here. This is once again practice. There's no cannula on this piece. All right, so when you're all done with that, you're going to hit done. Okay, so just to let you know with this menu, there's so many options and everybody's intuition is always to go to the setup. And that's not the case here. You're pretty much going to live in the start delivery option and the delivery program option. In order to set your settings according to the order, you're going to go down to delivery program. And I'm going to put this down here. You are going to hit select. Now, you're not supposed to see this code. This device was just serviced. I suspect that's why you see it. But in the event you see it, the program passcode is 174. So you're going to press down and just hold until you get to 174. Ooh, I did pretty good this time. Okay, 174, next. Okay, so here's where I mentioned the history about this being an insulin pump. This is very important. Remodulin, as well as any drug related to PAH, should never be bolused, okay? So your answer is that it's always going to be yes. Had this been used for insulin in our facility, then maybe it would be a bolus, but that's why you see that. So always hit next. Okay, so here is where we change our rate. It is, you'll refer to your paper sheet as to what the mils per hour is. So when you have that in front of you, and you'll have another RN with you, because this has to be correct. I mean, any medication does, but this really does. You're going to hit edit. Okay, this is kind of high here. So let's say we're starting, I don't know, make something up. We're just going to start right there. You're going to check on the RN. They're going to go, oh, that's cool. All right, so they'll continue to watch. Here's something to be very careful on. It's best to hit done. If you hit next, it's not the end of the world, but here's where you have to be super careful. What it's asking here is a time. You do not want to select another time. And the reason is because, once again, this goes back to the insulin history. If you select a time and then another mils per hour, the pump is going to think that after a certain amount of time, whenever it reaches the time you set, that it has to switch the dose. And that is not the case. You do not want to do that. Or it may turn it off or something like that. Like watch when I hit next. Excuse me. I'm terrible at this. Hit edit. Okay. And see, you do not want that. So you just hit the up and down arrow. Okay. So I'm done. I'm going to hit done. Okay. I'm happy. I'm going to hit okay. Okay. So still have your fellow RN with you. You're going to choose start delivery, and it's going to give you the option to review. Okay, so review the delivery program settings. Always say yes. Yes. Okay, so yes, it's continuous. You're going to go through other RN. Is that okay? Is that okay? You not only are going to co-sign in the MAR, the electronic MAR, but you're also going to put signatures on the paper sheet that's sent up from pharmacy. So when you're ready, just hit okay. And now it's running. Okay. If you now need to change the rate, let's say it's however many hours later and you got an order to titrate up, you're going to go back into this menu. This, I asked the reps why on earth there's too many menu buttons. They basically said it's the same thing, just in a different format. It has more to do with what the engineers need to do. So you'll always work with this menu button. So select menu. You do have to stop delivery, and that's okay. Remodulin, once again, has a half-life of 4 hours, so yes, you have to stop delivery. Pump stopped. Go back to the menu. Once again, your two main things that you'll live in is start delivery and delivery program, not set up. Delivery program, hit select. Oh, lordy, this passcode. I hope you don't get one with the passcode. It's 174. Okay, next. All right, once again, continuous. Let's say we're going to go up. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to edit. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let's say I have to go up to that. Okay, my other RN will be with me. Once again, you can never make a rate adjustment without another RN present. It has to be verified in the MAR as well as the paper charting on the sheet that's sent up from pharmacy. So when you're ready, you're going to hit done. Okay, and you're going to okay. And you're going to hit start delivery. You're going to, sorry, it's getting a little blurry there. You're going to hit yes to review, always review, continuous, yes. And you'll say to your other RN, hey, does that look cool? Yep, it looks good. Okay, hit okay. And there you go, it's running. So just to reiterate, I know I said this before, but the tubing changes every 72 hours. Pharmacy should know well in advance when this needs to be changed. In fact, it should be on your sheet when it be changed. But it's still always good to coordinate with pharmacy to make sure you guys are on the same page. All right, and that's that.